Hey, welcome back to another episode of What the Hell God. This show is all about, asking God. We get curveballs thrown in our life, and there's just times where we go through crazy things and we throw our hands up in the air and we're like, God, what the hell? What is going on? And God is just giving us this platform so we can help make sense out of life circumstances. And today I have Melissa. I've known Melissa for years now. We've served together in different ministry capacities, and I'm here with her. And Melissa, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit
Thank
about
you.
yourself.
Well, I will say I'm 51 years old, and I am a certified medical assistant. I was diagnosed with lymphoma cancer at the end of February. They just told me that I had lymphoma, and in March, the day of my birthday, March 18th, I was told exactly what type of cancer I have. It is angioimmunoblastic T-cell lymphoma. It's a very rare cancer, especially for my age. That's why I told you my age.
Mm-hmm.
They normally, with this cancer, normally it happens in people who are in their late 60s, early 70s. So, so they were very concerned about that. They were very concerned also about how out of control the cancer was, because I had it so bad. I mean, my neck was huge. All the lymph nodes in my neck were swollen. In my abdomen, I had swollen lymph nodes under my arms. I had some in my, even in my lungs. I was to the point where like I would have to sit up and sleep because I couldn't breathe very well when I would sleep, because it was actually pushing down here on my throat. So, so they immediately had me 2 days later get in a port. And then the following week, I went to a bone marrow specialist, oncologist, because of me being so young. They were really thinking more or less let's do bone marrow transplant. But first, before you get the bone marrow transplant, your immune system has to be suppressed.
Right.
So, and then the next step is taking a medication to, how do you want to explain it? That helps the transplant helps me to keep the transplant or not become allergic to it, or whatever, however you want to say it. And then that day, because that was a Tuesday, he wanted me to actually, he said, with the cancer the way that it is out of control, I really want to keep you in the hospital. He said, but with the COVID-19, I don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and do treatment today. And I said, no, because I drove by myself and I don't know how it's going to react. I said, please, can I wait? And he's like, okay, I think one day is not going to hurt you. So the next day I was back and I had started the treatment, and it's called CHOP. And then that afternoon I found out, or when I was still there having treatment, the doctor came and told me that one of my blood levels was high, and that he was concerned that I had some cancer cells on the brain. So in order to help with that, they had to do a, what do they call it? A spinal tap, spinal puncture, and inject one of the drugs into my spinal fluid. So I'm not only doing one type of chemo, but I'm also doing another one. I have 3 more left to go, and I'm happy in that. But I can say that I know I am a believer, and I love the Lord very much. And I know that he has me in his hands. Even before I had found out I had the cancer, the Lord in his graciousness and his mercy had started to prepare me with just different things that, like, I'm not really a TV watcher, but people that were around me watching TV, and then there's a commercial about lymphoma on TV. And so when you constantly are seeing stuff like that, and then I seen a gentleman on CBN that had mantle cell lymphoma. And I'm like, Lord, are you just trying to tell me something here? And so I said to the Lord, I said, Lord, if I am to have cancer, and somewhere you need to get glory out of it. I said, I don't want to have it, or you can take me home if you don't get glory out of it. So, I'm sorry, I'm crying.
No,
But
please, please.
the Lord has been helping me so much through this. I am on my 4th chemo next week, but you know, it's not really easy. It's hard, but it's okay because he's helping me through.
Yes. Well, first off, I'm sorry that you're going through this. You know, I know it is going through any kind of sickness, and especially with cancer, it's not a walk in the park. I'll say that much, but
No.
you look beautiful.
Thank you.
You're radiant. Like I know you're like glowing right now. I know that the glory of God is with you. I know that he is going to lead you. I know he has been faithful through the 3 cancer journeys that I went through. And I know if he healed me, he can definitely heal you. And there's reasons why we go through these things and we don't fully always understand it. But I know every time that I would go into one of my appointments, I would look for somebody, even if it was one of the nurses or the techs, and I would just share words of hope to them. And there was times that I was praying for them, led a gentleman to the Lord. Like, we never know why we go through those things, but I truly knew that when I was walking through through it, that God was going to get glory. And I love your determination. I love your heart. I know you're a woman of faith, and I just love that you're just standing knowing that God's going to get glory out of it. And he is. Right now, he's getting glory out of it. You're in the middle of your treatment, and you're like, I know you said it was the 21 days. I had that 21 days. You have about 3 to 5 days of good days, and then the treatment starts again. And so it's crazy, but I am just for you to jump on and just to share your story, and let's see how God has put us together for this session of what come out of it. But I truly believe your story has power, and you sharing this, who knows who's going to watch this, who needs encouragement today, because you know, just to see you knowing what you're in the middle of, and I was there before too, and it's not always easy. Some days you can't even get out of bed or lift your head, and you're just look at the glory of God all over you today. He knew that this was a divine appointment. So thank you so much for being on here. And you know, I know we're gonna have people that are watching. Please pray, because we know that God's going to use you, but also, you know, even this present suffering is only temporary for the glory that is going to be seen in your life. So what is one thing that I can help you with today?
Well, I do struggle some, even though I know that the Lord is here helping me, and he is definitely, I still have a sense of loneliness. It's just very hard to have to go through stuff by yourself because of the COVID-19. I've had to go through the treatments by myself, or I feel by myself, even though the Lord's there, but I don't feel that sense of someone being there, like the touch of just a human hand, or you know, just a hug, you know, from someone to say it's going to be okay. So I don't know if you can help me there, but I just really need help to understanding why I still feel the loneliness, even though God, I know, is helping me and is here with me.
Well, thank you for just even asking that. Like, you know, the thing that I'm going to tell you, I just think loneliness is so prevalent right now, but especially I couldn't imagine, going to the treatments. I know what those treatments are like. They're scary. And after a while, it feels like you're a pincushion, you're
Yes.
not necessarily yourself anymore. Everything has changed, even I lost my hair too. And so like all of those different, there's just the process of all of those things. It feels like nobody understands. It really does,
Right. And that's true.
honestly. Yeah. And it is true. It is so true. And the feeling of loneliness, it's very true. I just want to validate your feelings. Like that is so true that loneliness is a real feeling. People can say, God's with you, and he is always right there by your side, but there's nothing like human touch. There's nothing like, being able to have somebody that just holds your hand or hold you through these things. And I don't have an answer to tell you that this is the reason why, but I want to say this one thing to you is that, the feelings that you're feeling of loneliness, they're real. And, don't just throw your feelings aside and embrace them. There's a reason why. And one thing I can tell you is, when we were talking, I really just felt like the story of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. I was able to visit the garden this year, and he was in such anguish. It even said that drops of blood, were like as a sweat, and that feeling of just loneliness and despair. And, I know my own loneliness that I have felt, but I want to, I pray that I can comfort you with this, that Jesus knows exactly how you feel. Like humans can't tell you. I might have been there before, going through a very similar treatment, but I don't know how it feels. But knowing that Jesus went through this and that he made it and that he pleased the Father through it. And even in the midst of your loneliness, it's hard because sometimes we don't feel God all the time, right? We know he's
Right.
there
Yeah.
because we've been told and we might have experience, but to literally feel him is sometimes really, it's hard. It's hard to imagine, but I really want to just challenge you to reach out to people around you, because the way that I got through, and this is maybe the best advice that I can give you right now, is when I felt lonely, I reached out to other people who were going through things. And I found comfort in me giving out, because at that time, like I needed something and nobody was really there that could necessarily receive, could embrace me the way that I needed to be embraced. And I even had people around me. You don't have people, right? Except like the
Yes.
nurses and doctors and the techs. But I want to tell you, I felt that loneliness, and I can't even imagine how you feel. But for me, I reached out to other people. What I needed is what I gave to other people. So who right now in your life can you reach out to and love on that might need some love?
Well, I know when I go to chemo, there's not the same people there all the time, but I know that there's one lady that comes. Actually, she comes when I come there, but all she does is she just lays down in one of the beds and watches TV, and that's it. To me, it's very sad, and I do pray for her when I'm there. I just feel like how you want to explain, she comes in and there's not a smile on her face at all. And when I'm there, I try to make things great, or not great, but happy. Like I will joke with the nurses. And like one of the drugs that they give me is red. And so they told me that I would urinate red. So I went into the bathroom, came out, and I said, "Oh no, I got red in my urine." And the nurse says, "Well, I think I told you that it would be okay. It's just from the medication." I'm like, "Oh, that's right. You did tell me that." So I try to make things fun. And a lot of the nurses have come over to me and said, "We love your attitude. Where did you get that attitude from?" And I tell them it's Jesus, because if it was me, forget it. I would be crying and, be as sad as the one lady. But I really think that I could even help some of the nurses there, because they see day in and day out people who are sad there come there, and they don't get to see someone who is more joyful and have the attitude that I do, because that's kind of my one nurse said, you have such a great attitude towards this. And and again I said, it's only Jesus in me, that's it. Because he has helped me through from the beginning of this, because even when I found out I had cancer, I was by myself. My sister was supposed to go with me, but she was sick that day, so she couldn't come down and go. And my sister's a nurse, so she really was upset that she couldn't be there, but God had it for a reason, and has me going through this all for a reason.
Yeah. And maybe the sense of loneliness, I truly believe, out of our own pain, that our pain has a purpose. And maybe even out of the sense of loneliness that you're feeling, it's so deep right now, is that God has something for you through this, that you're able to know what other people are feeling. Because I truly believe when we give our life to Christ, our life is not our own anymore.
No,
that we don't
not at
go
all.
through things for ourselves, but we go through things for other people. Maybe who in your household right now might, like, I know you're staying with your parents, that you can, reach out to them, that maybe they're feeling lonely at times.
Maybe my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's a year ago. So she has been a big support in this too, for me, but she can't be there for me, and that's okay. She wishes she can, but she can't. But I know with her helping me here at home and trying to help me, has been a blessing to me, and I know a blessing for her. I pray for her all the time because of the Alzheimer's. I used to be a caregiver, and I would take care of people who had Alzheimer's. So I even took classes in like Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff. So the memory care. So I have been able to reach out to my mom, and laugh about things. And, my mom's always telling me every night. She comes in, she gives me a kiss, she hugs me, and she says, remember, God is with you. And she always tells me that every night.
So beautiful. So the times that you feel lonely and you have your mom and dad there at the house, can you go and reach out to them? Can you let them know, hey, I'm feeling this? Can you just,
Most of the time it's at night. So my mom usually goes to bed about 7, and my dad. So it's usually later in the evening.
Are there friends, are there people in your life that you can pick up the phone and call as you're feeling these feelings that you can do?
Teresa Von Regan, she's been a help, and her mom, Karen, because her mom had breast cancer. So her mom's just finishing up her treatment now. And she's been a big help to me at times when, I've needed it there. But I could call her. I could call Teresa, as I said. But to me, it's just not the same still, because I long for that touch of a human hand, and it's not there right now.
And I know it's hard right now. You're not with your husband. He's staying somewhere else, so that, during this COVID, that I'm sure that he would be there.
That's been even harder.
Yeah, definitely even harder right now. I know that it's tough, but the feeling that you feel, just take for a second and realize how full your life has been with people.
Right.
And also look at the pain that you're feeling, that there's a lot of people that walk through life alone and don't even have the option of reaching out to other people, or even the hope of the future, of having somebody in their life. Maybe it's just taking that time and asking God, how are you going to use this pain? What are you trying to teach me? I had to find my hear my diagnosis alone. I've had to go through treatment alone. I haven't had the physical people with me. What are you trying to show me through this time?
Right. Now, even for example, when I was losing my hair, you know, I did start crying. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, but Lord, I'm losing my hair. And the Lord said to me, it's not your identity. Don't worry about it. It's not your identity. It's not what I see.
Mhm.
So I've had to come to grips with that too.
Mhm.
And it's okay. Because yes, it is not my identity. It's not who I am.
Yeah.
What's in my heart is who I am.
Mhm. It is. Even in the midst of all this pain, I know I can tell you God's there, and I know you believe that God's there.
Yes, he
But I
is.
believe that He is using this to deepen your relationship even more with Him. That
Yep.
it's relying on Him more than relying on anybody else.
Yes.
It's he wants to be there for you. And just wonder what it would look like if you, during the times you really just need that physical touch, is if you just put some worship music on and just sit in his presence and just be and allow him to love those deeper areas, because sometimes there's parts of our life that humans can never ever touch. And I just
That's
wonder
right.
if he's trying to get to those parts inside of your heart, inside of your life, that only he can touch, and only he can love you through some of these hard times, because he knew you were going to go through this. He knew
Yes.
that you were going to hear your diagnosis alone, go through chemo alone. But I truly believe he is, really wanting to show you that he is right there by your side, that he wants to heal things and you to hold his hand through all of this. You know,
Thank you. I
you know,
appreciate it.
no, yeah. I believe that there's a greater dimension. Like, we don't go through pain for just to go through it, but there's something that God uses pain in our life to actually pull us through the next side. And we have to go through
Right.
just the garbage, right? In order to like be perfected in what he has for us.
Right.
And I truly believe that. I truly believe that out of this, that God is perfecting something wonderful and awesome and beautiful that's going to come out of this. And I'm saying, speaking through my experience, I battled 3 diagnoses of cancer, 3
Right.
times. And I know each time that there was something that God had really, through the crushing and through the pressing, that he had to prepare me for. And
Right.
it's hard. This is not an easy thing. Any
No, it's
sickness
not.
is not at all. But I want to tell you, like, I've been able to help so many people. And Melissa, I truly believe that through this pressing, that just a beautiful wine, the beautiful oil is going to come out of your life like never before. And what I learned is things that I prayed to God, God used me in different areas 20 years ago. I now see through all of the pain that I've been through on the other side what he was preparing me for. And we don't always understand why he does this. And the feelings of alone are so real. But I just wonder if you just reach out. Number one, reach out to the people around you. Reach out, pick up that phone, even though it's not the same. How do you know that what you're feeling, somebody else, you're probably the answer to somebody else's prayer, right?
Right.
Sometimes we think
Right.
we're reaching out, but then it just
Right.
turns around that we're the ones who are giving.
That's
And I
it.
found, during those times when I gave, that there's something that came back and gave to me. And then,
Right.
during this time when you're feeling alone, especially at night, that you go to your daddy, that you
Right.
go straight to him. And, I really believe that there's something that is deep that's coming out. And I would really challenge you to, when you're up to it, to journal about your
Okay.
experience, because I truly believe God's going to use this to help someone else. My father-in-law used to always say, we're all beggars telling another beggar where to get bread, right? And
That's
that's so
right.
true. So while we're
Yeah.
going through our stuff, like, we just need to, like, journal your story. Even this courage of getting on here today and sharing your story with me is so absolutely amazing. And I believe that it's going to help people. And I don't have all the answers to aloneness, and I don't think anybody else does, but I know we were created for a relationship. And so
Yes.
deepen your relationships that you have when you're feeling alone, and then also deepen your relationship with God. And then, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We
Right.
wrestle
Right.
against battle that's inside of our mind, against
Right.
principality powers. There's an outside force that we're wrestling with. And I want to tell you that this is also going to perfect your spiritual warfare, that as you go
Right.
through these things, that God is making you strong, where you are going to be the pillar for other people, and he's strengthening you for a reason. And I
Yes.
cannot
Yes.
wait, Melissa, to see what God is going to do and how
Yes.
he is perfecting you. And in James, it talks about count it a joy
Yes.
when we go through trials. And, when I
Yeah.
look at that, I'm like, God, what joy is in the
I
midst
know. I
of this
know.
suffering.
Yes.
But you know what? I look at that scripture and I see that it's a joy that God chose you. He knew that you can take this, and he knew the ministry that he's put inside of you and the call that he has on your life. And he's using this to perfect you. This is not going to take you out, girl. This is going to
No.
perfect you into the person and create
Yes.
perseverance and patience and determination, and just is really making you into that rock that he's going to use to help other people and to crush
Yes.
the head of Satan. So I just want to
Amen.
encourage you today. I truly believe that through your pain, through the feelings of loneliness, God is going to produce greatness, because the feelings of loneliness they're not something that God is sending down. He's allowing it
Right.
so it can
Right.
perfect you, but really it is something that the enemy is telling you that you're alone. He's
Right.
saying these things. And yeah, you might be in that moment, but I have to tell you, I believe that you have churches and godly people and people who are standing with you through this trial, through this battle, and you are not going to fall to his prey, but you're more than a conqueror, lady.
Amen.
More
Thank
than
you.
a conqueror. You've
Thank
got
you.
this. You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much. Thank
You're
you.
so welcome. And anybody watching, please reach out, to Melissa. Pray for her. Melissa, can I just pray for you right now before
You
we
sure
go?
can.
Yeah.
Yes.
So God,
Yes.
I just thank you, Lord. God, we don't understand all of the things that we go through, but God, we know, Lord, that you've got a purpose. God, you don't just
Yes.
allow us to go through pain without a purpose. So God, I pray over Melissa. God, I bind just even the spirit of loneliness over her heart, over her mind. Father, I just pray, God, right now that she will just feel you, Lord God, like never before. God, I pray, Lord, that you'll send in people that will gird her up, Lord God, people that she can give to, Lord God, and that can give to her and fill her up during this time. And God, I pray for wisdom with every doctor and every nurse, Lord. I pray, God, for the treatments, Lord God. We just bind cancer and we loose it off of her body. Your word says that by your stripes we are healed. So God, I speak healing over her right now. And God, I thank you for what you're going to do, God. We look forward, God, to the day, God, that we'll understand why she's went through this pain and what you're perfecting in her life, Lord. Let her testimony, let her life help so many other people, Lord God, that they'll know that they can reach out, Lord, and that they're not alone, Lord, and that you've got a plan for their pain, Lord God, that you, God, you don't waste anything, God. I speak shalom peace on her, which means nothing is missing and nothing is broken in her life. For it's in your name. Amen.